when it got to the point of using that stupid phrase, gender ideology, I mean, perhaps that's what broke me, because gender ideology doesn't exist. Gender ideology, that phrase, is used by people who say, who want to say, I don't like trans people, but realise that they're not allowed to say that because a trans person is an individual. And every time they use these phrases, all this culture wars stuff, they're attacking people. And you know, the Conservative Party is better than that. I know it is, from the amount of support I've had over the past few hours.
Suella Braverman is the darling of several newspaper front pages this morning in the wake of her conference speech, a speech with what you might call a strong anti-woke flavour. But not everyone's a fan. Andrew Boff, who's a Conservative member of the London Assembly, was chucked out of the conference hall for kind of heckling her.
There's no such thing as gender
Whole
ideology.
institutions become captured.
No,
and of course,
this is
as always happens when they're left.
Andrew Boff joins us now. Morning to you, Andrew.
Good morning.
That wasn't a heckle. That was a good old-fashioned British chunter. And I hear people shushed at you and tutted at you, which is also acceptable discourse. Were you surprised that actually there was an intervention against you?
I was, really, because I'm a bit ashamed of myself in terms that, you know, when I heckle, I really heckle. And that wasn't much of it. You're right, it was a chunter.
What did they say? What did they say to you? What did they say to you?
Well, they said, you've got keep quiet or we're getting out. And I said, well, and I said one more thing, and then they ejected me. So, you know, fair enough.
Well, was it fair enough? Because you presumably, as a Conservative, you believe in things like liberty and free speech. You'd expect to be allowed at your conference. And I think Suella Braverman was talking about the value of free speech as you were lifted.
Yes, it was a bit ironic, wasn't it? The thing is that I've been to many years ago in conferences. We used to have genuine debate on the conference floor. That hasn't happened now for very many years. So perhaps I was just trying to remember the good old days of when we did exchange ideas, and a little bit of heckling actually added to the flavour of the debate. But, you know, they've taken a different view. Yeah,
we had Jacob Rees-Mogg on earlier, and I said to him, was it acceptable language from Suella Braverman? And he said her job was to energise the conference, which is what she did. What did you make of her language?
I thought it was very divisive, especially using that. I mean, there was a lot of it in it that was divisive. But when it got to the point of using that stupid phrase, gender ideology, I mean, perhaps that's what broke me, because gender ideology doesn't exist. Gender ideology, that phrase, is used by people who say, who want to say, I don't like trans people, but realise that they're not allowed to say that because a trans person is an individual. And every time they use these phrases, all this culture wars stuff, they're attacking people. And you know, the Conservative Party is better than that. I know it is, from the amount of support I've had over the past few hours.
Well, is it though? I mean, that's the question. Are you in the right party? Because that notion of anti-woke, anti-gender ideology is the head of the party.
I'm in the right party. You know, funny enough, I know I'm a loyal Conservative because once every 3 weeks I feel like resigning over something stupid they've done. But actually, I'm still in there after 50 years, and I will carry on being in there. But being a member of party, it doesn't mean that you just slavishly follow whatever the most recent Secretary of State or Minister says. Being a member of party means that you do compromise, but that means that you have the right to be able to challenge such views, and that's all I really did.
And have you had an apology from anyone senior that you were ejected?
Nothing on the record, no.
No, well, maybe you'll get one. Andrew, good to speak to you. Interested to hear your reaction to all of that. That's Andrew Boff there, who was ejected for not a heckle. We can all agree that was not a heckle. That was a chunter, and that should be part of the British Constitution. We're allowed to chunter at all times. A person's chunter is his castle.
Having said all that, I'd still heckle you. But anyway, maybe next week when you come to the Labour Party conference in Liverpool, I'll heckle you from afar.
You can chunter.
Yes, indeed.